He thought she was just another lost passenger, until her tear-stained face led him straight into the center of a mystery worth millions. It was past midnight in San Francisco, and the rain poured like it hadn't in weeks. Daniel Ross, 39, a single dad and night shift taxi driver, was on his third cup of gas station coffee and his fourth ride cancellation of the night. Bills were piling up. Rent was due. And his daughter's birthday was tomorrow. He needed a break. That's when he saw her. A girl, maybe 19, soaked and barefoot, standing near a dark corner of Mission Street, arms wrapped tightly around herself, crying. He slowed the cab and rolled down the window. "You okay, miss?" She didn't answer at first. Her mascara had run down her cheeks. She looked scared, fragile, but not like someone high or drunk, just lost. I need to get out of here," she whispered. Daniel unlocked the door without another word. "Get in. You're safe now." She slid into the back seat, silent, shaking. "Where to?" he asked gently. She hesitated. "Anywhere, just away." He turned off the meter. "First ride's free for anyone who looks that heartbroken." She looked up, eyes flickering. That was the first time she almost smiled. They drove through the quiet streets in silence. She finally spoke. "My name's Claire. I've been gone for a while." Daniel glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "Family worried about you?" She looked away. "I don't know." He didn't push, but something about her, her words, her fear, her quiet elegance, didn't match the street corner where she was found. It didn't add up. He dropped her off at a women's shelter, gave her his number, and said, "If you need anything, call me." She nodded. What he didn't know was that within 12 hours his face would be on every news channel in the country. And Claire wasn't just a lost girl, she was America's most wanted missing heiress. By sunrise, Daniel was back in his small apartment, lunchbox ready for his daughter's school day and coffee brewing on the counter. He clicked on the morning news like he always did, mostly for traffic updates. But what flashed across the screen made him drop his mug. Breaking news, missing heiress Claire Westfield found alive in San Francisco. Last seen nearly 3 weeks ago, Claire Westfield, the only daughter of late billionaire investor Grant Westfield, escaped what officials are calling a high-level abduction and attempted inheritance scheme. Daniel's heart thudded. He looked at the photo. It was her, the girl from the back seat. Same eyes, same soft voice, same shivering frame. The reporter continued. According to sources, Claire was dropped off at a women's shelter downtown by an unidentified taxi driver, who may have unknowingly saved her life. Authorities are now looking to speak with that driver, who may be the key to uncovering the truth. Daniel couldn't breathe. He replayed everything in his mind. Her hesitation, her fear, her saying, "I've been gone a while?" He grabbed his phone. It had 22 missed calls from an unknown number. Then came the knock. FBI. 2 agents in suits stood at his door. "Mr. Ross?" He nodded slowly. "We need to talk about Claire Westfield." Within the hour, Daniel was sitting in a federal office downtown, going over dashcam footage, answering questions, and trying to understand how an ordinary night turned into a national incident. The agents were firm, but respectful. "We believe you were the first person she trusted after escaping, and because of that, you may have saved her life." Daniel leaned back, overwhelmed. He just tried to help a crying girl in the rain. He didn't know she was a Westfield, worth $140 million, missing for weeks, assumed gone forever. And yet somehow, she'd trusted him. 2 days later, the world finally saw her. Claire Westfield, alive and safe, standing in front of flashing cameras outside a private recovery facility, flanked by FBI agents and her family's attorneys. But she wasn't giving a statement. Not yet. She had a request first. Before I talk to the media, I want to speak to someone else, in person. That someone was Daniel Ross. They met inside a quiet, sunlit room. No cameras, no microphones, just two people who had only exchanged a handful of words days earlier. Claire stood as Daniel entered, still in his worn jacket and cap. She walked up and, without saying anything, wrapped her arms around him. "You were the only one who saw me as a person," she whispered. "Not a headline, not a name, just a scared girl." Daniel's throat tightened. "You didn't have to thank me. But I do. Because you stopped. Everyone else saw a lost cause. You saw a human being." Later that day, Claire gave her official statement. But before addressing her own trauma, she pointed to the man sitting in the front row of the press conference. "I'm alive today because a complete stranger chose kindness over judgment. His name is Daniel Ross, a taxi driver, a father, and as far as I'm concerned, a hero." The room erupted. Reporters scrambled to find him. Social media exploded. Hero driver and Tomaiduarchano Daniel Ross trended across the country. Daniel's taxi company received hundreds of calls. Donations poured in. A GoFundMe started by a stranger reached $500,000 in 48 hours. But Daniel didn't change. He didn't quit his job, didn't chase the spotlight. He just kept driving. Because for him, what mattered wasn't the praise. It was the fact that Claire was safe. A month later, life had returned to some form of normal. At least for Daniel. The media storm calmed. His cab smelled like coffee again. He still picked up late-night passengers, still double-checked car seats for his daughter, still didn't care about fame. But one envelope would change everything. It arrived without fanfare, hand-delivered by a man in a suit with no press, no interview, just a quiet smile and a sealed card. Inside was a handwritten note. "Dear Mr. Ross, I never got to grow up with a father. I never had someone who made me feel safe without needing to know who I was first. You gave me that in the middle of the night, when I had nothing left. I'll never forget it. Please use this to build whatever future you dream of, for you and your daughter. Claire." Tucked behind the letter was a check, $1 million. Daniel stared at it for what felt like hours, not because of the amount, but because of what it meant. Claire didn't owe him anything, but she gave him everything anyway. 3 months later, Daniel opened a small community driving school for single parents and low-income workers. Claire's Way transportation program, free licenses, job training, childcare during classes. Because sometimes, one ride changes a life. Claire joined him at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, smiling as she hugged his daughter and whispered, "Your dad didn't just save me. He reminded me who I wanted to be." And that day, beneath the quiet buzz of celebration and hope, Daniel finally realized the greatest reward isn't in what you're given. It's in what you give back.